are standing on hillocks. Those who are on hillocks will kick the ball and go. Now for you are coming to come out of the hole. That bender, will you come out of your hole and come and participate? So there's this picture. Have you seen? Yes, I think this picture is very popular. Many people have seen it. It's the difference between equality and equity. So equality, they all are the same size box. You have seen, the box is the same. The box is the same. So Mr. John, who is a tall man, is on the box. So he can see the game that is being played. Uncle Jim, who is a short man, the box allows him to participate. As for Kofi Odro, who is a short man, the box did not help him. The box did not help him. So if you bring a beautiful building here, and the stairs are like this, however beautiful the building is, a person with disability cannot access it. The innovation doesn't help. So sometimes our innovations don't help. How can we make our innovations responsive? Now on the right side, there's equity. The number of boxes has not changed. There are still 3 boxes. But Mr. John clearly does not need a box. And Mr. Jack was okay. Uncle Jack was okay. But Kofi Odro, Mr. John's box has been taken from Mr. John and added to Kofi Odro so that their heads are at the same level and they can participate. Let me show you a more complicated picture. And then, Mama, I think the time, okay. Right. So this is reality. The Ghana we live in, the world we live in. Have you seen Mr. John? He has gone, the boxes, he has, he doesn't need more. You see? As for Uncle Jack, where we left him, he's still there. He's still where he is. And then as for Kofi Odro, now they have dug a hole and put him inside. So that's reality. Then our box comes. Somebody says, we have to push equal rights. We have to make them happy. We have to do this. So they bring 3 boxes and they share it. That's the picture we saw before. Then somebody says, no, you are doing it wrong. We have to be equitable. And so they share the boxes. They take John's away. They leave Jack as he is, and they give it to Kofi Odro. But what we are aiming for is liberation. So any obstacle that prevents any of them from enjoying what is going on is then removed. Have you seen that the fence is not there anymore? They can all enjoy the constraints. They can participate. Even right now, they are so equal that they are all wearing shorts. At first, they were wearing trousers. One was wearing trousers. Now they are all wearing shorts. And so on and so forth. So, Papa Num and Mama Num, maybe Mama, can I pause here and see here, and then we will do the part 2 later. Right, okay, good.
I think we can do more. We can do more, so please, let's appreciate what Mama has done. Mama, we thank you so much for, I'm here to find out for at least this stage. We thank you for bringing us up to this stage. I hope we understood whatever she said, or there are some questions and then comments that we need to. Please, if you have comment or question to ask, this is the time for us. So you kindly raise your hand, and then you'll be given the opportunity to do so. So please, let's see by hand those who have. I think there's a hand here. The first, please kindly.
Yeah, Mom, thank you very much for the presentation. I think you have expectations of us, and for which reason you accepted the invitation and have traveled all the way to speak to us. And you've given a beautiful presentation. And I also realized from your profile here that you have a lot of engagement, high-level engagement with the Ghanaian society and also the church.
Sorry, Papa, I'm sorry. You know that I can't hear very well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better now.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, so
One of the handicaps of growing older.
the premise of my question is, I said that you have expectations for us as trained ministers, for which reason you've traveled all this way to speak to us. And then secondly, looking at your profile, you have high level of engagement within the Ghanaian society and also the church. Now my question is, if you are looking at the point of liberation, what do you think, per your wealth of experiences, will help the church and will also help us to deal with the issues of gender in the church? And then secondly, how are we going to achieve your expectations? Thank you.
There was a hand there. Please kindly.
Thank you, Mama. My question is, I know we as women wants to see some of these things that you are talking about here or in our lives. But at what point does that deviate? Does that go overboard in terms of the feminist stuff coming in so much so that it defeats the purpose of us having equality within the society?
Mama, thank you very much. My question is that as a country and also as a church, to what extent are we fair so far as issues of gender equality and inclusivity is concerned? That's my first question. Pardon me, that's my first question. My second question has to do with the fact that, similar to what we see probably within the country where there are groups that promote issues of gender equality, do we have such a thing within our church settings? And how is it being organized so that Papa Nomo and Mama Nomo will be able to look at it very well? My very third question is that even though you are yet to talk about your second part of the question, these days we know that we are going beyond gender equality and inclusivity and even adding a third layer which has to do with the intersectionality, and to see whether or not it will bring in the issues of intersectionality. We look at the framework of how these social factors come into play to deal with them, and I will be looking forward to issues of gender intersectionality. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me ask.
Mama, my question is with respect to the hello. Okay, sorry, I'm tall. Considering from where our sister left off, in the face of the LGBTQ issues that are bringing confusion in respect of gender equality, how do we manage these two aspects so that we don't fall prey to the negative aspect at the same time be able to push the positive angle of it?
Maybe let me begin from where you left off. The questions are very, very hard. You see, the thing is this, that we must, for me, as of we must always contextualize this within the framework of the Bible and what it teaches what it allows and what it enables. This is what I'm saying. There are those who will talk about gender, they'll talk about inclusivity and so on, and extend it to things like LGBTQ. Well, they'll say, okay, if you are including, they are also a marginalized group. Now, I cannot subscribe to that. This is what I'm saying, because I know where my marching orders are coming from. So that if we are able to tailor it within the context of what we believe and what we ascribe and what we hold to, we will get the resources that we need to, in a sense, test every spirit and hold on to what is good, if you like. So that when people are talking about, say, issues of submission in marriage, how do you, as a Christian woman counselor, explain it? And how do you make it make sense to a young couple, who are going to play complementary roles to make a home that is enjoyable for both of them? So you have to ask yourself these questions, and you yourself examine, re-examine, and package your thing well. Because I firmly believe also that Jesus Christ would like each and everybody to attain optimal development of themselves, the best they can become, and get the best out of life. So what are we instructed by the Bible? And I hope that in some of the arguments or some of the issues I'll raise in my second part, I'll be able to be more concrete about this. Now, the question about intersectionality, I will pass there. I will touch on it. I will pass there. Today, I didn't have the liberty of doing too much drilling down. So I will mention it in passing. I will look at it, and I will encourage Papa and Mama to adopt an intersectional approach to see how persons with multiple vulnerabilities can be doubly disadvantaged, and then you take cognizance of that. I think that's why I started my discussion from the fact that a person derives their identity from various sources. So that was where I was going with that question. So intersectionality is how people with different forms of disadvantage, suffer the impact of all their disadvantages. I mean, this is not a very technical interpretation, but that's what it comes to mean. That your disadvantages intersect and make you more bokra. They make you poso kra. This is. So I'm an older woman. I'm not a well woman. If I were poor and I couldn't afford my medications and I didn't have language, then you can see that I'm triply disadvantaged. And that is where intersectionality is going. And you need to look out for those things. The church is doing some interesting work. But for instance, the church has a campaign against domestic violence. So that every Thursday they wear black T-shirts. It's going on, I think, 6 presbyteries. Ga West, Ashanti, I think Volta, and 6. There are 6 presbyteries. So the church is doing quite a bit of work around domestic violence and so on. And then also, I believe that there are some efforts to encourage presbyteries and districts to pay attention to balance. So that, let's say if you have a session, we are encouraged to have as much balance as possible. For instance, I remember there was a particular session I was on where 25, at one point there were 13 men, 12 women, And then at a point, there were 13 women, 12 men. So aiming for balance as much as possible in those kinds of things. And then also a few other things. We get involved in promoting certain ideas and so on. So these are some of the things that the churches are doing. And of course, if you go to some of the training centers and things, there are sessions. For instance, when they were running the ministerial management programs, there were sessions on gender and gender awareness raising and so on. So these are some of the things that are going on. Where has our country reached? Where has our church reached? Our church is doing a lot around awareness raising. Our church is getting involved in a lot of discussions, initiatives, like I think recently there was something on menstrual hygiene, which Mama Moderator, for instance, was actively involved. So we do get involved in initiatives. Our country is not doing, our country, you see, 30 years, and you spend a lifetime, 30 years of saying the same thing, but the improvement is not coming. In areas of education and education administration, that one you will see that more balance is being achieved. And then you are getting women ascending into a reasonably high office. We've had speakers of parliament, we've had chief justices, and so on. Now we have a vice president who was herself a vice chancellor, and so on. But in terms of moving ordinary women forward, a lot more could be done. Now, there are those who will tell you that if you want to do well for maybe an underrepresented group, use appointing mechanism. That's why people advocate affirmative action. That if you do affirmative action, you don't do it by heart. You say that we want to move in such a way that about 30%, 40%, and up to 50% of these positions will be male and female. But you have to, you see, we don't do it, but a lot of countries do it in such a way that you have a target and you measure and you track so that when you have even numbers, then you let the process evolve naturally. But some people do affirmative action ad infinitum. You don't know whether it has achieved or not achieved. They just do it. So now we've passed the Affirmative Action Gender Equity Act in Ghana. It looks at certain targets in public office. It prescribes standards for various arms of government, for local government, for employers, for political parties, and so on. So I believe that as a church, we can also look at the areas around employers and in society and see how we can pitch in. And then, to what extent do we go overboard? In fact, a lot of work has been done. For instance, there's a lot in the area of feminist theology. There are even Bibles that have addressed the language. You see what I'm saying? Where God is he, she, her, and God has breasts, and God gives breast milk, and all kinds of wonderful images that I don't want to go there. I want to sleep well tonight, so I don't want to think about this. But that is going to the ridiculous. It is going to the ridiculous. It's going overboard in the sense that what serves our purpose in our quest to bring everybody approved and mature to Christ. Colossians 1:28, being able to deliver people mature and approved to Christ. What is it? That should be our benchmark and our look. So what are my expectations? My expectations, I think by the time I leave here, you know what I want from you, what we in the pews are looking for you to do. I will share some of those expectations. And again, in terms of liberation, that a person can live fully. You see what I'm saying? A person can live fully, can live a dignified life, and can be content in their skin. That the fact that I'm disabled doesn't mean that I'm inferior. The fact that I don't is, for me, liberation is being freed from all the things that would make a person feel undervalued or a person's dignity is diminished. Anything that does not dignify a person puts a constraint. Is what I'm saying. So even when you are being discriminatory, you are doing something, pay attention that you don't bring a person's dignity down. For me, that would be the removal of the curtain. When everybody is free, able, and whole, and able to engage. Papa, I haven't answered your question, but by the end of the day, if I haven't answered, ask it again. Right. Thank you. Mama? The last one.
Mama, thank you very much for the presentation. I want us to have a look at the framework.
The framework?
Yeah, if you look at the reality.
The one on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
The reality may be very catastrophic, depending on what happens between the guy on the top and the one on the just a single stand. But having moved to equality and now at equity, what that means is that the two of them, they will need help to get to the next level. So the question I'm asking is it not difficult, or is the cost or the resources needed to bring us to that point that is preventing the liberation struggle? Or, if you look at it carefully, liberation can also create a problem. Because as football fans, when there's no restrictions in the stadium, we may get ourselves a very bad referee, and then we may step onto the pitch and create a problem. So I want us to have an engagement as to how we can, even though we are seeking for liberation, but the cost involved are getting us to equity. And then the cost we must pay to also have a liberation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Liberation is the ideal. Liberation is the ideal that you know and you can be counted upon to behave yourself. You know that with every right goes a responsibility. You see, that is why in some systems, people can buy, there can be people pay money. Nobody is there, but integrity works, they pay. There's a coffee bowl here. Nobody's watching, but people put their money in. Only Ghanaians, when they get there, they start putting bottle tops and things over there. You see, liberation is when you yourself, you are so confident in yourself that you do the right thing. You don't go to a party and eat and mediayare. Once the food is there, mediayare. You see, that is a sign of poverty. Mediayare is poverty mentality. This is what I'm saying. Because you are afraid that you will never get some again. So liberation here is also mental and spiritual. So that these people are so disciplined that they know not to go onto the pitch. But the reality, my papa, is catastrophic. If you know the income levels of some people, even in the differences in the public service, some people are at a certain level, and some are taking 500 Ghana cedis a month home. Then you can see that the man in the hole, he's there. So, as for the inequities, they are there. It will cost. It has physical costs. It has social costs. Because people don't give up power and advantage easily. They don't give it up. Then I should go there, and what will happen? You want me to go there? Where will my children go to school? Move, so I won't move. Two, also mean two. Your successor is coming, I won't come. So it's very difficult, bridging that gap.
So we thank Mama once again. Soon we've come to the end of the first session. So I think we'll take about 15 to 20 minutes break. Then we come back to continue with the second session. Thank you.
So please, we are taking a short break for about 15 minutes. We will come back around 12:15, please. So please, let's all get up and stretch for about 15 minutes and then come back for the second session. Those outside, kindly come in. We are about to start the second session. Please come inside. Time is up. Please, let's all get seated so that we can start. Those standing, please sit. So we continue with the second session.
Hello, Asunjenka Yenina, and welcome back from the break. I think we have to continue with the second and the last section. So without wasting my time, I will give the mic to Doc to continue with the second session. And I hope we are going to be attentive and then take notes, because I think this part will be good for all of us. So, Doc, please.
Thank you very much, Mama Chair, Papanum, Mamanum. So I think in this section, I want to concentrate on the fact that we've talked about gender concepts and analytical issues. Right. Okay. Gender concepts and analytical issues. So how can we use these ideas? How can we engender our spiritual witness? You know, Presbyterians, we think about that. How can we use it to sharpen our social witness? How can it come up in our moral witness and other aspects? I haven't categorized it in these ways, so I'm just going to allow for a free flow of your thoughts in this matter. Now, I'm arguing here that when you take a gender analytical perspective, I'm encouraging you to look beyond the people in your pews, to look at what their realities are, and what the obligations are, what the constraints are, what the opportunities are, so that when we ask something of them, or when we don't see them, is it something in their homes, their roles, the demands that are made of them, having older parents at home, not being able to leave their circumstances to come. I want us to be able to take that on as a new spectacle. I think what I'm asking you is to put on a new pair of spectacles. Again, their resources, their capacities, the scope of operation. Can they afford what we are asking for? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the interests? And so on. Now, they also come there because they need something. They need something physically. They need something spiritually, emotionally. In fact, let me begin. They come spiritually, but they also have their emotional and social needs. That is why they come there, to be able to help them to function as Christian human beings. What do they need? How do you challenge your congregation to help to meet some of these needs? Even if it's the projects that you ask them to consider, how we can intervene in certain ways, what advocacy, who needs to be spoken to within the community and so on. Need to know, what do they know, what do they need, and how best can you help? Then I need you to think about them strategically, how we can move them spiritually, physically, socially, mentally, morally to the next level. You want to move them from liquids to solids. So what can we leverage? Can they learn more? Sometimes somebody is gifted but doesn't have the confidence to be able to leverage that gift, to move to the next level. It's for you to keep an eagle eye out and encourage that kind of movement or that growth. That if you bring the women's fellowship together, or you bring the men's fellowship together in contact with certain facilities and resources, certain groups that can equip them to improve their incomes, to do their investments, something. How best can you meet them at the point of need, what they do there? Again, the condition of the person who is there. Are they wretched? Are they depressed? Are they defeated? Some people are just coping. Others are just subsisting from day to day. Or are they hopeful? Are they motivated? Are they proactive? Are they engaged? Who can you link to whom? To elevate what they are doing, the condition that they are in, their state of being. What occupies them? What are their thoughts? What are the barriers that are stopping them from moving forward? There is a minister, a district minister I appreciate so much. He has the file there, just say members know, and he opens it. So on your birthday, especially those who have sort of distanced themselves, on your birthday, Papa will call you. Happy birthday. And how are you? And we haven't seen you for long. What's going on in your life? I mean, I'm sure it consumes, I imagine it consumes a lot of his time. But he actually goes to the trouble of doing all of that. So that at any point in time, he sort of knows your state of mind and how you are responding. And again, because you are not expecting him to call you, he has the element of surprise, you see. So then he's able to assess where you are, who you are, how you are doing. The position of the person, their level, their capacity to influence, and so on. What are they doing? Do they have any influences that can be brought to bear to help the church? There are a lot of resources hidden inside your church, except that because they haven't leveraged, they haven't opened up, or you are not aware, you are also not leveraging it. I mean, people can be employed, or not, I mean, engaged to do things on behalf of the church to link to other areas. They are just waiting to be asked to be able to provide that kind of support. And then we talked about intersectionality. I'll talk about this a little more. But you must also be aware of a person who has multiple factors predisposing them. The person may be a widow, the person may have been accused of witchcraft, the person may have been done, whatever. What is it that is precluding them or affecting their participation in congregational activities? I think there was one woman, when she came to church, and I think she was shouted down. She didn't come again because she saw it as an affront to her dignity and all that. Then, their capacity for transformation, how ready are they participate in their own growth? So that if you study that person and you know them, and you know that they are ready to renew their minds, they are ready to go forward, they are ready to move beyond the basics that they do, you can support and assist them. Now, you have some of these challenges more with women than with men. But I'm not saying that men don't suffer from it, they do. And then also, I talked about empowerment. Their power to what skills can you build if you want them to be active in church processes, services, being able to do liturgies, Bible study, lead groups, whatever. What skills are you building? Who do you see has a potential that you can engage and promote and bring their abilities up? So that's the power to, as I explained, their power with. So that who can you pair up with? Who can you let them associate with so that they can also go forward? So my point here is that in your ministry, there are opportunities to use these analytical tools to assess and deal with the circumstances of not only individuals, but groups and categories of people within the congregation and so on. We talked about an intersectional view. I think Paposofo raised it. That what do we mean by an intersectional view? Where do people's problems intersect? Where do the problems intersect? So that you should be able to see, so that you'll find that women of a particular age, from a particular ethnic group, in particular economic status, 2 troubles, 1 God. They have 3 or 4 or 5 troubles going on. That really, really, really impedes their ability to enjoy Christ and to be active and empowered in their Christian service. Now, I'm asking this because we cannot say that all women are marginalized. When we're doing women in development, we used to say that, oh, a man, more poor. Women are disadvantaged. Women women have been discriminated against. The men have cheated the women. We used to make those kinds of blanket statements. But do I look disadvantaged to you? I don't look disadvantaged to you, but I'm a female. You see what I'm saying? So you can't say that all women are marginalized or disadvantaged. You can't say that. You have to be able to assess. And we can't say that all men are privileged. There are men my age and from my church, whatever, compared to whom are more advantaged than. You know. So you can't say that all women are marginalized. You can't say all men are privileged. We have to be able to look at it in the nuance. And even within the categories, some may be more privileged. Some may be able to access services. Some may be able to access networks. Some may have voice that goes far as compared to others. But at the same time, a person may be vulnerable in one aspect of life and privileged in another, as I said earlier. And I'm also arguing that the situation of a woman or a man does not remain the same throughout their life cycle. You will see that over a 30-year period that I've been a member of EMMANUEL, people see me as me change. At first, I used to drive my car there. Now I take an Uber. You see? Yeah, because I can't drive now. At first, I used to go, I used to come, I used to do this. Now, even when I'm preaching, I don't recess. Because if I recess, I may fall down. So I have to be there. My point is, your vulnerability does not remain the same throughout your life cycle. Actually changes. So that we can consider the privileges or constraints that come with time, over time, with age, gender, even with education, physical ability, and so on. Right now, for instance, there are people who were wealthy and so on. Right now, they don't have those kinds of incomes. Technology has changed things. Ways of doing have changed things, and so on. We need to take all of this into account. So that it's important that we need to understand the combined effects of maybe being older, maybe being female, being older, being disabled, even being migrant, or even being childless. We need to be able to be sensitive. What I'm asking Papanum and Mamanum to be is to be sensitive to these differences and changes. So I've got two women in front of you here. One is on your left. She can easily be a women's fellowship. From her scarf, she could be anything. She could be a trader, she could be a farmer, she could be anything. The other woman is probably a YPG person. Judging from what is happening, she's had a young child, a baby. So that means that it was probably a teenage pregnancy. Only God knows what she's feeding the baby. Me, I know what she's feeding the baby because I know the person. But that child has no business eating whatever it is in that bowl over there. I suspect it's kokonte, and that child was definitely not 6 months old. So why that child is eating kokonte at 6 months is also another problem. Yet they are both in your congregation. So I'm asking, these are two women. You cannot say that their circumstances are the same. I'm saying, what are their vulnerability? What could be their privileges? And what are the implications for you as they also? I mean, the woman on the left, she's active, but she's an older woman. Her dress doesn't suggest that she's wealthy, but she's a working woman. If you bring work, they'll do it. They'll come, they are interested. She's engaged. The way she's looking at you, she's not somebody who is depressed or something. So those would be some of the privileges and the advantages that she'll have. But her constraints could be financial and other things. The young girl, her privileges could be age. She's a young girl. She's a young girl. Even if you look where she's sitting and where the woman is sitting, that looks like a more privileged place. And she started having her children. But as a young teenage unwed mother, that also has its constraints. And if you are not careful, it truncates her education and go on. So as an osofono, look at it. And to what extent would the male version of the YPG person be in this situation? This is what I'm saying. A boy her age will not be cradling a child and giving them kokonte to eat. No. And then, well, madam has swept, she has cooked, she's tired, and she posed for my picture over here. So in that regard, we need your sensitivity to this. Now let me give you two other pictures and show that they also have differential needs, privileges, and vulnerabilities. Right. The gentleman on the left is one of my foster children. He's a Presbyterian minister, so those who know him know him. Those who don't know him don't know him. And the lady on the right is my good self. Now, both of us are Presbyterians. Both of us are very nicely dressed as compared to my previous picture, which means that both of us have certain socioeconomic advantages and status. You see? So if you look at him, the Papa Sofo has status. That's why he's wearing the batakeri like that. Now when I'm talking to him, I can't see. Papa Pacho, you. This is my child. I brought him up. Papa Pacho said then. Papa Pacho, you. Debbie. But even when he's talking to you, I'm curtsying. You see what I'm saying? So there's that status, that respect, which is a currency. It's a source of power. It tells me, Mama, I don't think we should do that. I listen. Do you see what I'm saying? In fact, despite whatever relationship I have with him, he's my soulful. Mama, I don't think you should do that. You see. Mama, do this, do that. He's a fairly young man, so that is also an advantage. And so on and so forth. Now, in that picture, you can't convince me that this woman doesn't know what goes on in society. She does. You know what I'm saying? But she's an older woman with all that comes with it and everything. What is my point? My point is that each of these two Presbyterians has different needs and has different capacities, but also has different offerings to give. How do we manage and meet their needs, but also optimize what it is that they have to offer? And if you go and tell Papa that I'm using his image to do things, and he comes to judge me, I'll be very unhappy with you. Right, okay. Right, so what is my point? That Jesus Christ, he says that he has different types of sheep, but all of these sheep must be fed. So I'm asking you that what are their experiences within the church? And from time to time, enter the system, engage them, look at them, target them, find out what are the experiences. Go into the groups, see how the groups are functioning, how they are meeting, sit at the back, incognito, listen, put your ear. Are some people feeling excluded? In some of the big congregations, people form cliques. People form cliques in some of the big congregations and, are quite exclusive of others. Are people feeling unequally treated? There are a lot of troubles about sharing welfare, sharing those who went to funeral, those who didn't, those who attended the marriage and nobody came, and so on and so forth. Are the facilities, the services and programs equitably acceptable? That, for instance, the minute you do a program on the top floor of my chapel, it means that you have sliced off a certain proportion of people. We can't come. Where you have done it, we can't come. So, is it equitably acceptable? Is it equitably accessible? Does it work for them? Even timing, does it work for them? Are groups in the church equitably treated? Because it is coming from YPG. Because it is coming from a particular singing group. And as for church choir, now you don't even regard them. And there is a discrimination in the treatment given to singing band as compared to church choir. And so on. You hear these kinds of things. And Papa, if it were a church choir, you would have jumped. But because it's a singing group, you are not a singing band, you are not listening. And so on. And I'm saying, consider the factors that could constrain people. Their physical access, can they come in? Their social access, language, even their dressing. They say dress code. And the person doesn't have some of the dress code. And so on. See what could preclude them. So I'm invoking Colossians 1:28. I think I've said this already. So you have to be able to ensure that you have an open and level playing field so that everybody can participate. So that you have to move from a one-size-fits-all mindset. Not your one approach will not fit everybody. And then also generalities will not fit. And you yourself, you must go beneath the surface. Go beneath the surface. On your session, there will be people who know everything. There will be some people on the session who, for them, only they people tell things to. Just some people, and some of the Asafuma were saying every day, the Asafuma said something to them. Such people, you take what they are saying with you with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying dismiss it, but you yourself assure, ascertain, engage, unpack. So in thinking through, I'm asking, what do you think about the levels of participation of men and women in a typical PCG congregation? One, as congregation members, you see that inevitably the women are more than the men. I haven't seen a congregation where the men are more than the women. They are there. Then there's group leaders. Now, when you see, as for things like women's fellowship and men's fellowship, the executive can only be men or women. But when you go into service groups like choir, singing band, Bible study, and prayer group, invariably, most often, the president tends to be a man. Nowadays, they are voting for the women small, and that kind. Senior presbyter woman is becoming more and more common, but at first, you won't get someone, my uncle in Ekropo, he was senior presbyter till they physically removed him. And then even there, he let them come and put a chair there permanent where he was operating from. So, and then also, depending on session, the membership of departments, I need you to keep an eye on how you populate your departments, because it is drawn not only from session, but from the membership of the church. Keep an eye on the balance. Keep an eye on the balance. You will find women accountants. You will find women entrepreneurs. You will find women educationists alongside the men. Keep an eye on the balance. The session, again, many congregations are being deliberate about session and ensuring a gender balance and so on over there. Very often, what accounts for the lopsidedness includes history, even sometimes the availability of the people to offer themselves. Sometimes you say, oh, Mama, you can do it. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, I don't have time. Nobody has time. Nobody on this earth has time. You have to encourage your women that it is God who gives time. It is God who makes time. They have the capacities, you encourage them to practice, you engage them, you unpack, and you persist. And very often people will tell you that public leadership is a male domain. It's men who speak, and it's men who go forward. And God is a man. He is referred to as he. So what are women doing around him and so on? They'll give you all manner of excuses. You have to battle some of these stereotypes. Again, you have to look at the differential needs. Older men have different needs from older women. There are prostrates and there are breast cancers. There are prostrates and there are breast cancers. There are pensions and there are grandchildren and so on. So let us see if we can anticipate their differential interests. Again, within YAF, the men and women in YAF, what they have in common is their age, and maybe because they are starting families, but they have different needs. Beyond a certain point, they have different needs. Younger men and younger women within YPG, again, they have age in common, they have starting life together in common, they are looking for jobs and managing their lifetimes and times of stress together. But young women have different needs that young men are different from. And then also in the junior Y also, we may need to unpack what are the needs and concerns of young adolescent girls, what are the needs and concerns of young adolescent boys. Again, if there is something going on nationally, church-wise, how do you promote social inclusion? How do you promote empowerment and accountability? For instance, you remember that, as I was saying, there's a lot of discussion around menstrual health. You know, what are you telling the girls within your church? about it or making them access. A lot of education around cyber security. People TikToking and showing themselves and exposing themselves to danger. What kind of education are you giving? You see, you must look at the wider trends because your church is not insulated from what is going on in the world. And these are some of the things I've talked about. The PCG's advocacy against domestic violence. Even though it's official in 6 presbyteries, we need to be able to discuss some of these also. As ministers, shouldn't you, I'm asking you, as a lay person, shouldn't you be teaching on sensitive subjects that occur in our society? There are many things that occur in our society. We pretend they don't exist. Something like rape. You see what I'm saying? Rape. I mean, when a man rapes a 3-year-old child, what justification is there? None. Incest. Incest occurs far more than we realize or we want to accept. Issues of child abuse, widowhood and inheritance, disability, childlessness. Papanum and Mamanum, a friend of mine said something which made me very sad. Right now, she's been married for about 25, 30 years. She doesn't have children. She's 50-something now. And she, by all accounts, she was brought up in a very strict Presbyterian home. She herself is very strict. Just a child, she just didn't have children. One day, an Osofo stands in the pulpit and says, and you those who don't have children, you have done abortion after abortion after abortion after abortion. And now you are worrying people, going from prayer, come to prayer, from also, you expect us to pray for you. She took her bag and went home. She took her bag and did what? Went home. But when she thought about it, and the pain, and the difficulty, was that the best way to have spoken about it? Papanum and Mamanum, let's be sensitive. And also, let's move away from generalizations. Let's be sensitive and move away from generalizations. Because some people are suffering. Some people are really suffering. One of my sisters-in-law, she had 10 miscarriages before she had her first child. And after that, God blessed her with a second. One also did IVF 6 times. None of it took. So she doesn't have children. There are certain things that are painful, and we have to be sensitive in talking about them. And when you do these things, and you are offering counseling, where is counseling required? In what situations is counseling required? Who does the counseling? Apart from Mama Ramsey here offers a very wonderful counseling program. I know it because I participated in it, and Papa is going to bring me and award my certificate before I leave. But it's a very nice program. So we need to update ourselves in that regard. Ask yourself, am I being judgmental? Am I allowing my stereotypes and prejudices to influence? You see, naturally, why is he looking so? Why are they wearing so many earrings? Why has she got ear studs in her nose? What is this? You see, so immediately, I'm prejudiced. And therefore, it colors whatever it is that I want to say. What is your position on domestic violence? Are you going to say that anything that happens in a man's home is his business? That's why. Because her mouth cannot sleep. That's why they beat her. What is your position on domestic violence? How do you confront influential people in the congregation who have been accused of particular behaviors? Drunkenness. Drunkenness. domestic violence, pedophiles. There are people who have decided that as for them, they will only target children. They lure children, they give them sweets, they take advantage of them. People who are involved in sexual harassment. When somebody is passing, then they hit their bottom, boom. And they hey, as for this, your husband is enjoying, oh, all of this is uncalled for. It's unnecessary. And it is certainly not appropriate. And you, as ministers, must call them to order. Should there be congregational teaching sessions to deal with real life issues, taboo issues, like menstrual hygiene, marital sex, menopause? These are things that are worrying people in their houses. Should you have congregational education sessions on it? What can you do differently? You can do differently by recognizing that men and women are different in their needs, and also understand that gender and equity and equality are just a part of the larger issue of full inclusion of God's people. You can appreciate the fact that a qualitative and fuller involvement of the women or any distinct population in the church, especially in decision making, can enrich the potential of the church and its capacity. You must also be able to encourage that people should be each other's keepers. When you have rights and privileges, you have to exercise mutual respect and support. Demand that people respect one another. Don't countenance certain types of language. Call them to order. Call them out when they haven't done well. We've talked about intersectionality, Christ spectacles. Move away from stereotypes and guard against unexamined generalizations. As for women, that's how they are. As for men, they are so bad. As for this, move away. Generalizations is not your portion. Again, promote appropriate and inclusive attitudes. Pay attention to language and understand that anything that could potentially exclude or discourage somebody, wankasa assess it. Asem biara mekadi biara meyen ankasa se maybe say yesu fe ana se ebepam ogwa maybe. And then understand that charity begins from home. Gender issues affect agents too. They affect agents too. Ministers and catechists. You have to be responsive in your relationship with your peers, other agents, and so on. Because sometimes it's very interesting. I remember a certain mama, Papa also who came. Said, Mama, penny pa crack. Papa's wife doesn't like people. She's not friendly. What was her offense? Apparently, the congregation had gotten to using their house like a thoroughfare. And the fridges were, you saw what I'm saying? Just popping into the house by heart, using the bathroom, doing this. Then Mama said, this nonsense must stop. So Mama logged, hey, Mama's message on penny pa. Then anyone tell she's not nice, she's not this, she's not that. One mama today said her shoes are ekume. Hey, can't she see? And then a fellowship, and you are wearing this, and you are bringing that, and you are doing this. One mama to a female, they say her husband has gone and sat on the Amanza Asafum painful. And unfortunately, he was an older gentleman, so he used to fall asleep small. Hey, Papa has slept. I saw that he was even drooling. Abasa, someone young, plenty like that. Sometimes, agents have challenges in their very homes. And we have to be accommodating, we have to be supportive. We have to allow, because they are first and foremost human beings too. They are first and foremost human beings too. So there are gender issues in agents' homes. They also have children. They also have grandparents. They also have businesses. They also have extended families. And we need to be able to accommodate and do that. What does our church teach about women that we point to? Very often, when the church is teaching, they teach about industrious women. Proverbs 31, virtuous women, Naomi, Ruth, humble but resourceful, Deborah, Esther, Abigail, Rahab, good parenting, Hannah, Eunice, Louis. Negative, don't be like Eve, don't be like Jezebel, Delilah, Atalia, Herodias, all those people. There was a bad one, Crapo, in Nehemiah called Noadia or something. She used to join the bad people. They also preach about submission. They preach that women should be silent, how women should behave in public gatherings, and so on and so forth. Even in evangelism, women as evangelists, they point out that Judea and Syntyche, they were very quarrelsome. So Paul had to call them in order to order. Women, they are doing evangelism, they are quarreling. You see, every time, we tend to paint women with this brush. But I'm begging and arguing that with the guidance of the Holy Spirit, let's teach about the equal recognition of men and women by God, who also gave them the differences. That we have to celebrate these differences based on individual as well as corporate submission. So before God says, women, submit to your husbands, says, submit ye one to the other, in Ephesians 5:21. So that one of the anchor texts for this discussion will be Galatians 3:28-29, so that the value of men and women in the eyes of God, irrespective of nationality or class, is also equal, that there's no bond nor free, so that the two sexes are joint heirs with Christ, as are the persons of different ethnicity and social and economic status. I want you also to teach about the fact that women and men are created in the image of God. Male and female, he created them. And therefore, anything that is good in woman is reflected in God. Anything that is good in man is reflected. I want you also to talk about the roles that women played in the ministry and at the cross, the level of the cross. When Jesus was being crucified, we didn't see men surging courageously to go and save him. They went there. They had abandoned. I think only John was left over there, and he cried. He was there, but the women were there crying, at least. We also want to suggest that I want you to also teach that the Holy Spirit's gifts is for all God's children. But I also want you to emphasize that equal rights does not mean you are not subject to the authority of the state or the church. When you look at 1 Peter 2:17, you are subject to a constitution. You are subject to the guidelines. And like I said, you remain within them, and so on. That we have differential roles, differential responsibilities, and we must exercise self-discipline as Christians. Submission is an act of self-discipline, I think. Teach them how Jesus saw women, that the women are there, they acknowledge. If you look at Romans 16:1-16, the number of women that are mentioned in those 16 verses, working alongside men in the new commission. Phoebe, Priscilla, Mary, Junior, Persis, Rufus, Julia, and Norris. I just say, you see women active and prominent and clear in the work that Jesus did. How he treated them with dignity, how he was concerned. Teach it. How they supported his ministry financially, and how some of the most imperfect women were the recipients of his message. The Samaritan woman who heard of his messiahship, Martha, to whom Jesus declared that he was the resurrection and the life, and Mary Magdalene as the first witness of the risen Christ. Just say, teach these positive views, not the bad, the Jezebels, every day, not Jezebel. And yet Jezebel, not Delilah. And yet Delilah, not Akubio. Give us positive models in your teaching. Right. So do all of this for me. Then in the reading of the word, we have to get into practice asking, where are the women in this reading? I mean, if you read also Numbers, where God did an act of justice for a man who had died and his daughters wanted to inherit. Just actively look for the women and the positivity within which they are mentioned as ancestors, as begetters of heroes, whatever. But open your eyes and start looking for them. Clarify your vision. Ask the Holy Spirit to clarify your vision, your reading, and your learning. Mama, finally, I think I have some 2 slides be left. The minister in the social context. I think you need to recognize for me that as a minister, you may be the main face of the PCG that many local women, men, young people will ever encounter. They will never meet the moderator. They will never meet the clerk, but they will meet you. So whatever impression you create will say, Basel for the sa, President for the sa. President, so for be. Where did ye? President, so for be. One man cry no off from baby. Nenum kasa nye kura. You will be the face of the church that many local women, men, young people will take inspiration from. So your outlook, your attitude, your utterances, your behavior can either inspire or turn them away. And as for now, there's a lot of competition. I mean, if you can imagine that people can find comfort in a church by someone like Agrada, then the trouble is big. The trouble is very big. I mean, this impossible woman with her filthy language and her filthy self, but her very self. And people actually go there and she has a women's fellowship and a men's fellowship. Hey! Anyway, let me continue where I came. So I'm saying that you will play spiritual as well as social roles. I need you to manage yourself. Wankasa, manage yourself. Manage your temper. Manage your language. Manage your appetites. Appetites, your physical appetites, your financial appetites, your social appetites, and your psychological appetites. The Lord who called you is abundant. He will give you. But Papa will call this one into the office and say, you know, I'm building this my house in somewhere. And cement can you loan me this? Can your car take me here? Can your this do that? Then they start comparing notes. This Papa, he has begged them. It is not worthy of you. Again, make sure that you don't allow yourself to be compromised. Don't allow yourself to be compromised. When you are doing counseling, do it in an accessible space. Don't be seen living places with people, not in the company of somebody or another. Please, I beg. So that you are not compromised. And I'm also pleading that you have to be reliable and trustworthy. Keep confidences as far as possible. If the person is not involved in criminality, endangering himself and society, keep the confidence. If the person is involved in criminality, encourage the person to turn themselves in. Treat every individual with respect, but also require that they respect you. Because you have an office to defend. Be discreet and informed, for we need to form. Put your eye on the ground. As you are going into the circumstance, the congregation, the area, be aware. There are some social issues, some ethnic tensions, there are some political what have yous, there are some geographical considerations. You watch it, mind your step, mind your language, and be tactful. Manage your home and your affairs. Respect your spouse at home and in public. 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 I beg you. I know what I have seen before. A couple, I won't say that they are Presbyterians, Mama. I won't say they are Presbyterians. The man was an osofo, the woman was also an osofo. So the woman closed early, and the man, that day the man was giving communion. So, I mean, asofo there, they have to help. And so the man had finished saying what they were sharing, and the woman too was, emfaha. Come on, go to. I tell you, the eye that the woman eyed him there around the communion table. Hey, I said, there's a big trouble going to happen somewhere today. You see what I'm saying? Mama, hurry up. Mama should carry your shoes. What has Mama done that she should be carrying your shoes? And what has Mama done that she should be carrying your shoes? Why? Papa, where's Mama? She's over there. She's over there. No pride. I mean, no affirmation. You see what I'm saying? No affirmation that, this is my wife in whom I am well pleased. No. She's somewhere over there. Please, at home and in public, so that your children can also learn to treat women and treat men respectfully. You are not in competition with anybody, only straining to present yourself approved, not ashamed, and handle the word of truth correctly. So there's no distinction between male or female by way of spiritual reward in the kingdom of Christ. Amen.
We thank God for how far He has brought us, and I know we are equipped. Mama, thank you once again. And the floor is open for questions and comments, please. For now, we know our expectations, so...
Okay, so thank you, Mama. Colleagues, Mama touched on domestic violence, and I just want to advise all of us. There is a limit to what, as ministers, we can handle with regards to issues that our members go through when it comes to domestic violence. So please, I'm only advising my colleague ministers here. There is a limit. So when you realize it is beyond you, please, Mama said, let the person turn him or herself to the police. Make sure that thing is done. Do not settle things that the police would have to handle. You might find yourself in trouble. So please, handle the issues, but when you realize it's beyond you, please lead them, especially an offense like rape, defilement. She mentioned sexual harassment. You cannot handle it. It will go and it will come back. And at the end of the day, you, the minister who sat to resolve it in a way or one or two, you might find yourself in some kind of trouble with the police. So remember, our members, they are going through a lot. If I tell you the number of members from even my congregation who come to the office to report domestic issues, you have no idea. And I like my minister so much that whenever a case is before him, because he cannot handle, he will call me. I will give him my advice and then advise appropriately. Yes. Those that we need to make sure are reported, especially somebody had impregnated a YPG girl. You want to cover it. Are you going to take care of the baby? You cannot. So you need to advise the person to seek redress at the appropriate quarters. So I just want to advise my colleagues. And then also she talked about teaching. So our offices are opened. Wherever you are, there are DOFSU offices around. We are ever ready to come and sensitize the members wherever I went through my practicum, I ensured that I gave them that teaching. So I'm only advising you. Our offices are opened everywhere, and we are ever ready to come and educate our members so that they are aware of some of the domestic issues, and when they are confronted, how to handle it. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you very much.
Please, we are still within the question time. Any? Oh, okay. So it seems we are all, yes. So. We thank God again for how far He has brought us, and we've come to the end of the program. And I know and believe that we are blessed this afternoon. Our time here is not wasted. We are equipped with gender issues and how to handle when it comes our way, what is expected of us as ministers, what is expected of us as ministerial trainees in our churches, in our environment. I know that after here, we are going to be different people in wherever we'll be. So we also thank you for your time, your comportment, and everything. And we pray that the good Lord who has called you will keep you and then lead you to a successful end. Thank you very much.
So all too soon, we're coming to the end of today's program. I humbly invite Mercy Apia Kena to give the vote of thanks.
May the peace of the Lord be unto you. We thank the Lord God Almighty for how far He has brought us. On behalf of everyone present, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our chairperson, Mrs. Francisca Adama. Mama, we thank you very much, and we say Yehovah Oniwechi. And also to our dear Dr. Mrs. Esther Udruwa Ofe Abuaje, our facilitator. Mama, we thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insight, making this seminar enriching and impactful. We thank you so much. And we say a yes or bye. Thank you very much. And also to our able faculty for their guidance, wisdom, and dedication to shaping our ministry and growth in the ministry. Our faculty, we say God bless you all. And also to our special organizers, in fact, you've done well. You planned this program, very productive and experienced. And also to all participants, thank you for your active engagement, sharing your perspective and contribution, and also to make this meeting or conference a meaningful discussion. May the knowledge, skills, and connections gained here empower us to make positive impact in our respective spheres. We thank you all for coming. Thank you.
You sent for me to come and do the closing prayer. Okay. But before the closing prayer, I need one more thing to do. Madam Chair and our facilitator, our board chair passed by to see me, and we are in session here, so I've asked her to come around. She wants to say hello. So our board chair, Nana Obenewa Ata Ofori, the Benkumhene of Mpraiso, and he's our board chair.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen. As Papa has rightly introduced, I just passed by to say hi to you all. I know you are well trained. I know you are waiting for your graduation, which we will be here in 2 weeks to do that. And I hope whatever you have learned from here, you carry R.T.C on your shoulders. You are going out there to advertise R.T.C. It is now your alma mater. Whatever you do out there would relate to what you learned here. And you are going to be the future and bring the next generation here. So we ask that whatever you have learned when you get to your various stations, you ensure that you practice them, that everybody will see that you are different and that you came from R.T.C. Make R.T.C proud, and we are here strongly supporting you. Thank you very much.
And Madam Chair, our facilitator, our mother who would always want to come, we wish she could come every day. Dr. Esther Ofe-Agbaji, she's our facilitator today. And the chair is the acting registrar of the university and my senior presbyter. So, thank you very much. May we rise and pray. May we go before the Lord in thanksgiving, a word of prayer for the facilitator, for the program, for all of you, committing R.T.C also into the hands of God. May we pray individually. The doxology Shirayan Hyayanso. Two. And now unto the hands of the most gracious Lord do we commit you. May the peace of God that surpasses all understanding rest and abide with us all now and forevermore. Amen.